Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 1st of February. India unveils budget aimed at boosting spending to support growth. Taliban forms a joint ministerial committee to address Durand Line issues between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And Maldives government plans new law to curb anti-India protest. And now for all the details, Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Tuesday unveiled the budget for fiscal year 2022-23 that aims to boost spending to support growth amid continued disruption from COVID-19 and rising inflation. Creation of jobs and preparations for new age technologies such as blockchain and 5G services are among the highlights of the budget. In what was her shortest budget speech ever, Sitharaman announced no changes in the income tax slabs or hikes in exemptions.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Tuesday unveiled the Union budget for fiscal 2022-23 that proposes to step up spending to $529.7 billion to build public infrastructure and drive economic growth amid continued disruption from COVID-19 and rising inflation. Sitharaman announced a sharp jump of 35.4% in capital expenditure for infrastructure projects for the coming fiscal year to build expressways, affordable housing and solar manufacturing. India is targeting a deficit of 6.4% of the GDP, hoping to build on higher tax revenues and privatization of state firms, including a share sale of Life Insurance Corporation and 5G spectrum auctions. Sitharaman said that the central bank would also introduce digital currency using blockchain and other supporting technology, while 30% tax on incomes from the transactions in such assets has been proposed. She, however, announced no changes in the income tax slabs or hikes in exemptions.
The outlay for capital expenditure in the union budget is once again being stepped up sharply by 35.4% from 5.54 lakh crore in the current year to 7.50 lakh crores in 22-23.
Calling the budget people-friendly and progressive, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the budget is full of new possibilities for more infrastructure, investment, growth and more jobs. The opposition, however, said there was lack of substance for common citizens in the budget.
Extremely disappointing, a damp squib. There seems to be absolutely nothing in this budget. It's an astonishingly disappointing budget. In fact, when you look at or listen to the speech, of which we don't yet have a written text, no mention of Unrega, no mention of defence, no mention of any of the urgent priorities facing the public.
Asia's third largest economy has been on the mend after the government lifted mobility measures last June to curb the coronavirus spread. The recovery from the pandemic has been swift but incomplete, officials say. Private consumption has been hampered by a lack of jobs, depleted household balance sheets and wider income inequalities.
Hundreds of members of the Christian community on Monday took part in the funeral service of a Christian priest who was shot dead by unknown gunmen in Pakistan's Peshawar city as he returned home from Sunday Mass. The incident has reignited fear amongst the community and brought back memories of a twin suicide bombing that killed scores of worshippers in 2013 in the same city.
The killing of a Christian priest in northwestern Peshawar city has reignited fear amongst local parishioners and brought back painful memories of one of Pakistan's bloodiest attacks on the community in the same city. Gunmen shot and killed Pastor William Siraj and wounded his colleague cleric Patrim Naeem as they drove home from Sunday Mass. The funeral service for the slain priest was held on Monday, which was attended by hundreds of mourners at the British colonial era All Saints Church in Peshawar, the site of a twin suicide bombing that killed scores of worshippers in 2013.
Community इंतहाई अनसिक्योर फील करती है. हम पहले भी खुद को अनसिक्योर फील करते थे और जब ऐसे वाकयात होते हैं तो उसके बाद से ये अनसिक्योरिटी हमारे यहाँ मजीद बढ़ जाती है.
Christian religious leaders and the community members have demanded police to arrange more security for them.
ये कि सर जी हम लोग करते हैं काम, हम आते हैं लेट, तो हमें सिक्योरिटी देनी चाहिए आपको क्योंकि हमें ख़तरा है. ये कल की वजह से जो हमारा पादरी साहब हुए हैं शहीद, तो इस वजह से हमें बहुत ख़तरा है.
Global rights watchdog Human Rights Watch said in a report released earlier this month that religious minorities in Pakistan continue to face violence as authorities fail to provide adequate protection or hold perpetrators to account.
And moving on, amid the ongoing harsh winter season, residents in Gilgit Baltistan have urged the government to develop better road infrastructure and facilities to boost the tourism sector in the illegally occupied region. Continuous and heavy snowfall brings life to a standstill in Gilgit Baltistan, blocking roads and suspending electricity supply during winters every year.
The picturesque landscape of Gilgit Baltistan attracts many tourists during the snowfall season. However, locals have lamented they are witnessing a downfall in tourist footfall due to government's apathy to develop better road infrastructure and facilities. The continuous heavy snowfall has brought life to a standstill in many parts, leading to road blockages and suspension of electricity supply, making it difficult for travellers and locals to commute. Locals have said better provisions for accommodation and connectivity could have boosted tourism and local economy, but authorities have turned a blind eye.
क्योंकि दुनिया भर के लोग सियाह जब इस तरह रुख करेंगे तो वो यहाँ पे आएंगे, ठहरेंगे, होटलिंग का जो शोबा है उसको भी तरक्की मिलेगी, वो भी फ़रोग़ पाएगा. इसके अलावा जो यहाँ मुकामी लोग हैं, यहाँ हाइकिंग के हवाले से, लोडिंग के हवाले से, क्योंकि उनके लगेज हैं, उनके बैगेज हैं, उनको जो लेके जाएंगे अंदर चरागाहों में, पहाड़ी रास्तों में जहाँ हाइकिंग के लिए आते हैं, तो उससे एक बेहतरीन किस्म का जो है मईशत पे असरअंदाज हो सकते हैं.
Locals blame Islamabad's indifferent attitude towards the region has affected all sections of the society. Shopkeepers, hoteliers and other small businesses in the region are all struggling with the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic.
And the historical Durand Line, the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, often witnesses periodic skirmish between the two sides. The latest one after Pakistani forces allegedly tried to extend the barbed wire fences into the Afghan territory. Amid the ongoing border issue, the Taliban has formed a joint ministerial committee to address the problems and address the security issues that may potentially occur in the future.
Amid border issues along the Durand Line with Pakistan, the Islamic Emirate on Monday formed a joint ministerial committee comprised of several ministries to address the problems. The decision was made in a meeting chaired by the second Deputy of Prime Minister of Afghanistan, Abdul Salam Hanafi. Inna Mullah Samangani, Deputy Spokesman for the Islamic Emirate, said the objectives of the joint committee is to resolve the problems along the Durand Line and address the security issues that may potentially occur in the future. The announcement follows the visit of Pakistan's National Security Advisor Moeed Yusuf's two-day visit to Kabul. Yusuf held talks with several officials of the Islamic Emirate during his visit, and both Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed to form a high-level committee to address the border issues. The Pakistan Foreign Ministry said in a statement that the objective of the visit was to discuss Pakistan's proposals for deepening economic engagement. The statement added that both sides also reiterated their commitment to early completion of the three major connectivity projects, CASA 1000, TAPI and Trans-Afghan Rail Project. The Durand Line, the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan, continues to be a thorn on the side as both countries are unable to come to a mutually beneficial conclusion. Recently, both were engaged in a dispute after Pakistani forces encroached 15 kilometers inside Afghani territory to erect fences. Named after a British colonel from the 1890s, the Durand Line is recognized by Pakistan and the international community. However, Afghanistan denies accepting it formally.
In news from Maldives, members of the ruling Maldives Democratic Party are considering a legislation to criminalize protests that affect the country's relations with other nations. Reports suggest a draft bill is being circulated within the MDP in the backdrop of India Out protest over the perceived proximity of government of President Ibrahim Mohammad Soli to India. The campaign has seen pace since the release of opposition leader and former pro-China President Abdullah Yameen from house arrest late last year. It asserts that a large number of Indian military personnel are present in the Maldives and that the government is planning to hand over the Uturutila Falhut atoll to the Indian Navy. India and Maldives had last year signed an agreement for the development of the harbour, aiming to strengthen joint security. Mohammad Nasheed, the Speaker of country's legislative body Majlis, has already written to a parliamentary committee on national security to investigate the India Out protest. The draft could be submitted when Majlis reconvenes on February 3rd. And the demand for electric blankets is on the rise in Srinagar in India's Jammu and Kashmir as people in the city continue to struggle through the harsh winters. Manufacturers are working round the clock to meet the demand. Meanwhile, cold weather conditions have also continued to persist across other parts of the northern India.
As the minimum temperatures in India's Jammu and Kashmir continue to remain below 0 degrees, many people are opting for electric blankets to keep themselves warm amid the ongoing harshest period of winters. The blanket manufacturers are working round the clock to meet the demand. These electric blankets are carefully designed to provide uniform and gentle warmth day and night. They are also generating good business for many people in Kashmir Valley who are earning their livelihood from it.
जब से ये मार्केट में आई है पहले तो सब इससे डरते थे क्योंकि इलेक्ट्रिक पे पावर पे सोना जब अवेयरनेस इसके बारे में लोगों में आ गई तो अब सभी करीब इस्तेमाल करते हैं।
हाँ, बूढ़ों के लिए भी सेफ रहती है, बूढ़ों को भी आराम रहता है इसमें और ज़्यादा पावर का भी ज़्यादा लेता नहीं है, पावर भी लेता नहीं है ज़्यादा।
Meanwhile, in national capital New Delhi, residents woke up to another foggy morning on Tuesday, which affected visibility while cold weather conditions continued to persist. Similar scenes were also witnessed in northern Patna city. South Asia's winters are not as cold as other regions such as North America, but the millions of poor here are hit harder because they live in an open and do not have enough warm clothes.
Hindu devotees in northern India on Tuesday took holy dips and offered prayers on the occasion of Mauni Amavasya or silent no moon day amid coronavirus pandemic. People perform rituals for salvation of their ancestors and give donations to priests or the needy.
Hindu devotees in India's northern Varanasi city took holy dips in river Ganges and offered prayers on the occasion of Mauni Amavasya, an auspicious day when sun and moon enter Capricorn sign, according to Hindu calendar, amid coronavirus pandemic. Braving the cold, thousands of devotees, undeterred by surging coronavirus cases, gathered on the banks and took holy dip, disregarding mask discipline and flouting distancing protocols.
कोरोना के रिकवरी रेट्स हैं बहुत अच्छे हैं बनारस में। कोरोना अब यहाँ पे बहुत कम है और जैसे कि श्रद्धालुओं की जैसे वो है नहाने की इच्छा वो नहाएंगे तो है ही, लेकिन कोरोना से थोड़ा सा जो उनकी व्यवस्था है उसको पालन करना चाहिए और बस यही है कहना है।
कितनी सावधानियां बरती जा रही है, इतनी भीड़ है?
बहुत सावधानियां हैं, पुलिस सबको मास्क लगाने के लिए बोल रही है और सबको दूरी बनाने के लिए भी बोल रही है। काफ़ी अच्छी यहाँ पे व्यवस्था है।
इसमें बेनी माधव का दर्शन, तिल से स्नान, तिल का दान और नए सीजन का गुड़ भगवान को तिल और गुड़ अर्पण करना और मौन रह करके जब तक स्नान ध्यान न कर ले तब तक आदमी मौन रहे और मौन रहने से उसको आत्मिक शांति और शरीर में ऊर्जा का जो है उसके शक्ति का जो है निर्माण होता है।
Similar scenes were witnessed in Prayagraj city, where devotees were seen performing rituals at Sangam, the confluence of holy river Ganges, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati. People perform rituals for salvation of their ancestors and give donations to priests or needy. Mauni Amavasya is observed every year in the month of January or February on no moon day as per the Hindu calendar. It is believed that the water of the Ganges turn into nectar on this day. It is derived from the word Muni that literally means an ascetic who practices silence.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.